Hello, everyone, and welcome to Madison Reed's very first ever hair color house party. I'm so glad that you're here. We have about 100 people on the line with probably more coming. My name is Heidi. I am a very proud member of the Madison Reed family. I've been with the company for about 3.5 years. And I know many of you are joining us because maybe you're coloring your hair for the first time. I colored my hair for my very first time about 3.5 years ago. And I will tell you that we have you covered. You can do this. When I colored my hair for the very first time, I was surprised at how easy it was. I will not be coloring my hair alongside you because I colored my hair actually about a week ago. But I will enjoy watching all of you color your hair. We are doing this because we have gotten just so much demand and so many questions, and we thought that this would be a great way to teach you how to color your hair and do it in a really fun way. And it's not just fun, it also has meaning to us. So I don't know if you're aware, but Madison Reed has already donated $100,000 to Direct Relief. It's a fund that helps frontline healthcare workers. And today, for every picture that is sent to us of your after hair color, we will be donating $1 for every picture submitted. So we hope we'll able to donate more. Madison Reed is a company that is all about the artistry and the wisdom of our colorists. We have 60% of our workforce are colorists, and I am very proud today to tell you that we have 3 of our expert professional colorists with you today to help you with all of your hair color questions. I would like to introduce them. So first up, we have Siobhan. If Siobhan, you can wave, unmute yourself and wave. She will be our master colorist actually doing the demonstration.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Great. Also here today, we have Susan, also a master colorist with us today. Susan, if you can wave and introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone. Great to be here.
And last but certainly not least is Dana. Dana, can you wave?
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
All of these colorists have years and years of expertise coloring women's hair and teaching women how to color their hair. So with that, I hope that you are all set and ready. I hope you have your hair color kit right next to you. Hopefully we're going to make this fun, and hopefully you have your cocktail or mocktail of choice. I have my lemonade spritzer right next to me here. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Dana, who's going to introduce herself and talk to us about some housekeeping things.
Thank you, Heidi. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are just going to go over a few housekeeping things for this hair color house party. First off, if you have a question, we are going to get to you if you raise your hand. At the old-fashioned way, Susan and I will get to you as soon as possible and answer any questions you might have that come up during the event. And we'll be able to answer all your questions after the event in a special email. So don't worry if we don't get to you. Susan?
So it's great to be here. I've got ready. I'm not going to be coloring my hair, but I've actually used this to prepare myself for Zoom, which is an amazing little tool to cover my grays because I need to color my hair. So I'm going to be helping Dana, another pair of eyes. So please do speak up. We're here to help you, and we're really happy that you guys. So without further ado, I think, Siobhan, over to you.
All right. Hi. Thank you. Thanks, Susan and Dana. Hi, everyone. I can actually see, I'm just kind of looking over to the side here. I'm speaking into my phone to communicate with you, but I can see you all over to the side, and I can actually see some of you have your kit out already, which is so exciting. I'm so happy that you're actually doing this hair color step by step with us. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this, virtual hair color party, like color with me step by step. So I'm really, really excited to have you guys join along. We're going to get right to it. I'm going to start coloring my hair. I'm going to take you step by step every little bit of the way, from sectioning, putting on your skin protector, all of that, all of those steps. just as a quick reminder, again, we can see you. I know that you're muted now, but we can see you. So if you do raise your hand, Susan and Dana will kind of be scrolling along looking for questions, and they'll make sure that I hear what you're asking. If you need me to say something again, slow down, speed up, I can do that, because I do want us to sort of do this step by step together.
And,
so,
and we already have a question, so you carry on, Siobhan.
Perfect.
What I'd like to do is to ask you, iPhone, who lifted your hand. I don't think we've got your name. Would you like to ask a question to Siobhan? Hello, Deborah.
Hi. Hi, how are you? No, I am so excited to be here. Hello, everybody. That's all.
Excellent.
Just so excited.
And we love you too. Thank you, Deborah.
This is awesome. That just made me so happy already. Okay, so there is a quick little topic I do want to talk about with you all before we actually get to the hair coloring phase. And this is one of the things we sort of said we would discuss in this segment. And that's the topic. We're getting asked a lot of questions. I know a lot of you are joining sort of the at-home hair color revolution for the first time. Maybe you've never colored your hair before. And there's a term that we get asked a lot about, and that term is hot roots. If you've heard that term and you're like, I don't know what that is, or I do know what it is and I want to avoid it, we're going to help you with that. So the term hot roots, that's sort of an industry term. It's something that hairdressers kind of say a lot. But essentially all that means is the phenomenon of coloring your hair and having the roots turn out accidentally a little bit lighter, or we call warmer, but you're probably more accustomed to thinking of it as like orangish or reddish or maybe a little yellow. And really that comes from, usually it's attempting to lighten the hair too many phases at once, trying to bring the root color up a little bit too light. So one thing that I want to talk to you about or kind of show you is we're going to be coloring my hair today, and I want you to kind of see that my hair, my natural, you know, I've got some gray and my natural is a little bit darker than the color I color to. So I've got a base color of kind of a medium brown going on. You can see that right there. And then I've got a bunch of highlights put in. That's what the blonde all is. That's all highlighted hair color. So I don't try to touch up my roots to be this highlight color. That would be, you know, too many levels of lift for a permanent color at once. So what I do to have sort of a more neutral, rich brunette root is I stay pretty close to my natural. So I'm kind of a dark medium brown and I color to a medium brown. I just go up a little bit lighter than my natural color. And that's how we avoid getting something like hot roots. Now, if I were to put a blonde permanent hair color on those dark roots, that's when you're gonna get kind of that orangey effect. So if that's something you've been curious about or had on your fear factor list, that's sort of how we avoid that. When you're doing your roots, you wanna kind of nudge pretty close to your natural. Does that make sense? So I do just a gradual little difference here at the root, and then I depend on highlights to get me blonde. And I use our Lightworks balayage kit. I know that there's been a lot of interest in that too. And just so you all know, we're gonna be doing some segments on that in the future. So if you're on and you're interested in highlighting at home, we'll take you through that in, probably in the coming weeks. But do let us know if that's something you're interested in so we can make sure that we get to you on any questions on that. Okay. Now, Susan and Dana, I am going to start sectioning my hair. Did I miss anything? Does anybody have any more input on the scenario of hot roots and how to avoid those?
So, you know, I think what's amazing, Siobhan, what you just said is something that a lot of people are really thinking about doing right now, which is keeping their hair pretty much natural and keeping the roots kind of easy to do. And then having the ends being lighter. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it's so much, we see so many lightened ends now.
That's right.
So I think what's brilliant is that you can show us how you're going to be covering your grey, but at the same time, you're going to keep your highlights.
Yes, that's my whole purpose in life in coloring my hair. Keep those highlights and cover the grey. And so
I have a few questions
sure.
Before we get started. We have a question from JG. I'm going to unmute you now.
Hi. So I use the Madison Reed, and I have gray roots. my hair's been colored before, so I do have what you're describing as these hot roots, even though I
Sure.
went through the color thing. So I'm trying to figure out how do I address that, because I obviously don't want to keep it close to gray. I want it closer to the color of my hair, and I don't know how to make that happen.
So it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, are you saying you're naturally you've got gray at the root, then you've got your previously tinted color, and
Right.
when you went to color
Yeah.
this most recent time, this was too light of a color.
Correct.
Mm.
Correct.
I would recommend for your next shade, use a color just one level darker than the one you just most recently used. Just go down one level, not too much, and you know, maybe use one of our cooler tone shades, and one of our colorists can help get you matched. So you don't have to try to go on and figure out exactly what that is, cool, you know, warm, all of that. They can sort of nudge you in the right direction. But I think just going one little bit darker will bring this shade maybe closer to here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Judy.
absolutely. So what I would like to do is I'm gonna go ahead and start showing how we section. And then while I get going on that, Dana and Susan, if you want to take some questions, but I want to give a quick description of what I'm about to do before I do it. If you've got a pixie cut, short hair, don't worry about this whole sectioning thing too much right now. Sectioning your hair isn't really going to help you too much. As you know, the hair will just move back into place. But shoulder length or longer, this will help you stay organized. So what I do is I keep it really simple. I just do a center part. Don't stress about making this perfect, okay? All this is to do is to help you organize your hair into a couple basic sections. If it's not a straight line, don't worry, we're not entering it into a contest. This is just to help you stay organized. So I do center from the center of the forehead down to the nape, and then from the top down to each ear. And if, Dana, if you wanna take another question, that's totally fine while I'm sectioning.
Sure. I think we had a question from Donna. Donna, go ahead.
So my question is, I've had highlights for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going red. I'm not dealing, I got this spicy, whatever, red one. So my question is, I've already done my roots with brown once since we've been quarantined. When I go to put the red all over color and I have highlights and gray, and what can I expect? Do I do the roots first and then color the rest of the hair? Like, how do I totally change the color? And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would recommend, you're going to need all over, you're going to need the whole what we call a global application, all over, roots to ends. How much gray do you have, if you had to guess on a percentage?
Most of my head. I think there's a little dark in the back.
Okay. I would recommend that you do this. Go ahead and put your color on all over those roots. Set your timer for about 25 minutes.
Okay.
And then add the rest of the color left over in the bottle to the mid-lengths and ends. Set the timer for another 20. So what will have happened is those roots are getting the full 45 they need, and the mids and ends are getting a nice, 20-minute deposit since those are previously colored. And since you had highlights before, that hair is a little bit more porous and will absorb the color faster. So we want to prevent that hair from over darkening. Does that make sense?
I think, and that's a great point, Siobhan, and anybody else who's listening that is having the same type of question as Donna. Obviously, the hair at the root is where we're going to be covering the grey, and that's like super strong, that hair, and we all know that, right? So always try and leave the colour on your roots for way longer. And if you are going through, and obviously, Donna, you're changing your colour, so it needs to stay on for 20 minutes so that it will have enough time to grab onto the colour that you've already got. Anybody else, if you're just refreshing, then that is not recommended. So we wouldn't put the colour on the roots and on the ends each time. Put it on your roots and then give it a quick wash through when you're taking the colour off, if you just want to do a little bit of refreshing. Okay?
Thank you, Susan, that was a great call out. So I see we have more questions being asked. So what I'll do is I'll start doing a step so that for those of you who are just waiting to follow along, you can follow along and do the action steps. And then Susan and Dana can continue with the questions. So what I'm doing now is I've got my hair basically sectioned. I only had 3 clips, so this one's just going behind my ear. So I'm sectioned off and I've got the hair off my forehead, which is an important aspect of the next step, using your skin protector. So you got a skin protector in your kit. I like to just put it on, dollop it on my hand. And here's a little pro tip, by the way. I didn't really go into this too much, but these 2 items that you get, the wipe and the skin protector in your kit, before your gloves are on and you have messy hands, if you give those an open now, it'll help you kind of avoid a frustrating situation later when you have color on your gloved hands. So I've got my skin protector. Now, this is optional. You don't have to use this, but we highly recommend it. It just helps protect your skin from any color drips, and it doesn't matter how pro you are, you will get color drips. It happens to me constantly.
So while you're doing that, Siobhan, I'm going to take another question from Joan. Joan,
Yes.
you're waiting there. What
Hi.
have you got there?
I colored my hair last week, and I absolutely love Madison Reed. But my question is, you know, since we've been homebound, I had about an inch of gray hair all over, and it didn't saturate in my roots. So I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
But do I just do it on my roots, because I don't want the rest of the hair to get darker? I'm using the same color.
Yes, and that's a perfect thing to come up. We always like to use all of the color, don't we? And it's kind of tempting to put it through the end. But especially if you've done like Joan, just done your color fairly recently, don't pop the color through the ends. You need to put it on the roots, just like we talked about, and leave it there for a good long time. And don't forget that with Madison Reed, what we've done is we've tried to cover all bases. And if your hair is a little bit resistant, like yours might be, Joan, and that's why you're seeing the grey come through quickly, just leave it on the hair for a little bit longer. So we say processing time is 35, but you can leave it for 45.
I want to repeat something because I'm hard of hearing.
Go.
So I put it just on the roots and leave it on for like 35 minutes, but then I don't spread it out into the rest of my hair.
That's right.
Is that correct?
You don't need to put the color on the ends. All you need to do is pop it through the roots. Perfect.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Joan.
Okay, so we have, I've got my barrier cream on. I want to do a couple quick call-outs about barrier cream. Keep it just on the skin, not pushed up into the hair. It's really good at protecting from color, and we don't want our roots protected from color, just our skin. So I lay it on pretty thick, like the consistency of about Greek yogurt. This wipes right off. So barrier cream is on. I do all around my hairline, top of the ears, around the nape of the neck. Now I've got my gloves on, and I'm gonna mix my color together. I am using sienna brown. This is a medium brown from Madison Reed. This is my root color. Again, I'm just doing my roots here.
So while you start that, can I just bob in and take the question from Barbara? Because I know you've been waiting a little while, Barbara. I've noticed you.
Thank you. So my question is, I'm about to color it for the first time. I hope I bought the right color, but that's another issue. I put this morning some of that cover powder on the roots.
Perfect.
So now, can I put this right over that? Yes. Or should my hair be washed first? Like, will it affect the way the color takes?
And you know, that's a great question, because like you, that's what I do. And lots of us will do that. As long as you brush your hair out well, and it should be fine. So, because when we use a powder, we're not going to be covering up the roots super well with anything that's too greasy. That's what you want to avoid. So you can go right ahead and keep on going. Are you going to colour along with Siobhan?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to do it in real time with us?
No, I'm going to do it in later time after you. Thank you, though.
I look forward to seeing the results. Thank you.
So give this a good shake. I've already put my tube in here. There's a little plastic that comes off of here. Pop that right off. Hold it with your fingertips. Shake, 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 shake. And what you want is no visible clumps or anything like that. You just want nice creamy. So I'll give this another maybe 30 seconds and then we'll get to putting on color. I'm happy to hear another question if you two are ready to take one while I shake it all around.
So I've got Angelica. Angelica, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Marvelous. And I know that you've been waiting a little bit.
I just joined, so I have.
Marvelous. So what would you like to ask?
So I want to say two things. Colored my hair years ago with Madison Reed, and I was quite impressed with the results of the grays and so forth. I was a little bit hesitant about coloring my own hair because I'm normally in someone's salon right about now, getting my hair colored with grays. So it came out wonderful, shiny, soft. So the product is true to its word. I want to ask a question about follow up with the video, because I wanted to show you all in a video what I went through and the results. And I don't know if that's something you all do with the clients that purchase Madison Reed. Do you all accept videos to show, or how does that work?
You know what? I think we'd love to see that, wouldn't we, Siobhan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should. Tell me your name again.
Angelica Watts. I'm in Maryland.
Angelica, we have your email address. Might we have that from our Zoom? Because I would love us to be in touch with you and maybe have you email that directly in rather than email that into our main line. So let me find out exactly what the best way is to do that. Or Dana and Susan, if you could touch base and find out the best way to get a video.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for doing that, Angelica, because we love all of that stuff. So yeah, anybody who's got anything, we want to see.
Madison Reed, I think I love Madison Reed. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to a salon and get my hair cut. Maybe the highlights. I do want to do highlights with Madison Reed. I'm a little bit scared about that, but I'm gonna try.
Well, you're not alone.
We're here for you.
I promise you I do my own highlights and I'll help.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're gonna get started with the color application now. I don't know if you guys can really see in here, but I do have gray in here. I've got about, I would say I'm about 15%. What is interesting is although my hair isn't a coarse texture or anything, you wouldn't think the grays, they're not poking out, you wouldn't think they're resistant. They are, even though I've only got 15%. So I'm gonna lay my color on really thick. Saturation is really key. Now, if you happen to have a bowl and brush handy, you're free to use it. What I like to do is shake this and then empty that whole thing into the bowl, apply that way. I'm actually gonna stick to the bottle. For me, this is a little faster, so I'm gonna do it this way. So in order to get really good gray coverage, I'm gonna start down the center, and I'm gonna use this nozzle to keep myself organized and take skinny sections. What's great about this is it's no drip. So you can use it to section your hair, and until you squeeze, nothing comes out. So here's how I do this. I start from kind of the back. Now we're gonna do the front sections first and then the back. Reason being, I want my color on the front sections longer because this is where most of the gray is, and it's certainly where the gray I care about is because that's where I can see it. So I want that to get the longest cooking time. So I'm gonna go in and I'm going to just kind of apply in this S pattern, getting on both sides of that part. So if you are coloring with me, this is how we start this process. Now,
what I'm going to do while you're doing that is I'm just going to take this question from Hilda, because I know that you're going to get to about halfway and then you're going to be telling us that you've got some stuff. So Hilda, let me ask you, I know you've had your hand up for a little while. Have you still got your question for us?
Yes. So I'm doing this along with you.
Ooh.
So I'm like so scared. But anyway, so my question is that I have the root touch-up from Madison Reed, and I used it yesterday.
Yes, this
so
one.
I'm finding it hard to find my roots now because they're in there, and I didn't know if that was going to affect the color now.
And that's a great question. Actually, someone else asked that. If you have your root touch up on there, and obviously you do need to see your roots in order to color your roots, give your hair a really good brush before you start with your color. If you've got the root touch up on there, it won't affect the fact that you're going to be colouring your hair with permanent colour. You should be good, but what your hair should be is kind of not that dirty, because grease is going to be something, or a lot of hair products may well stop the colour from taking, but powder itself won't. So that's a really good one to know. Thank you, Hilda. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Perfect.
It does.
Thanks so much. How are you doing, Siobhan?
I'm doing great. So I'm working from the top down to the ear. Now I'm taking these highlighted parts, really being careful to hold them over, keep them out of the way of the color, and just get that color on the roots. And then I'm using my finger to massage it in, not going too far down the strand. Remember, you only want to color the new hair at the root. And there's the drip I told you that would happen. I'm just going to move that right in to my hair and then dab it away with my cleansing wipe. Doop, right there, just so that that doesn't sit on the skin too long. And that was the first quadrant, and I'll move to the other side doing the same thing. Back to forward, good saturation, and massaging just into the root.
I think we saw Laura raise your hand. Laura, did you have a question? What is your question, Laura?
Yeah, my question was, I am doing this on another member of my household's hair.
Perfect.
And this person and I were debating about this issue of, is your hair supposed to have just been washed, or is it supposed to have been washed the day before? And, you know, maybe I'm old school and I just remembered, you know, I have antiquated knowledge. So just wondered what the current philosophy is with this product.
It's best to have day old.
Day
hair.
old.
Yeah. Yeah, we recommend. So if we, yeah, we recommend to wash your hair the night before or the day before, and then color your hair the next day.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I want to point out one quick little thing here. I am taking these horizontal skinny little sections. I'm putting the root color on here. I hope you can see this clearly. I'm sort of turning to the side to look in my mirror. This is where my gray gets serious. So I'm going to make sure that my saturation is really good and thick here. Now, the other thing, before I head to the back, I want to show you something that I recommend. For most of us, the gray we care about is all the stuff around our eyes that we can see constantly. So I've done these two quadrants, but now I'm going to go in and I'm going to hit all along the hairline just to make sure that that really, really gets fully saturated, the thickest. Little headband. Don't push it too far in. It's not about going any further into the lengths. It's just about getting the roots. And now I'm about halfway done. I am going to grab that other stain with my wipe. And I'm going to head to the back, which is...
I know that, Siobhan, sorry to jump in there, but I know that after what I normally do, because I've got resistant greys at the front, after I've done the back, I'll usually come back and do the front again. I don't know if you guys do that. Can I just jump in and take Ashley's question here? Ashley, I know you've had your hand up for a little bit.
Hey, everybody. So, yeah, so I just have a question about my hair. It's lighter at the bottom. It just kind of naturally, or with sun, has faded to an orange compared to my roots. So I was just wondering, should I color the bottom first or do the roots? I have, I don't know, maybe 5% gray.
Right, that's an excellent question. Are you coloring your hair today?
I am. I've already put on the barrier cream, so I was just waiting for this answer.
We can't see you, but I'd like to be able to see you.
I have the video on.
Oh, you do? Okay. So if you have hair that's been lightened and it's on the ends, what's going to happen with that is that hair is going to take much faster than the hair at the root. And that's because the hair at the end is kind of, it's been used to being around, and the reason why it's lightened is because it's what we call porous. That means it's very absorbent and it wants to be coloured. So we would always recommend, because that's going to be quick, that hair to take. if you want to tone it down, and what we would normally recommend is that you would put the colour on the roots first, leave it on there for a little while, and then take it through to the ends, probably for like the last 10 minutes. Or even if your hair is very long and porous, what we would do is when you're in the shower, just massage, get it onto the ends, and then leave it on those ends just for 5 minutes. And what you'll know is when those ends take the colour, they're going to take it fast. So you don't need to leave it there for very long.
Okay, yeah, because that was my concern, because I got kind of one shade darker than I would normally consider my hair, because I wanted to kind of take, but at the same time, I mean, I like how it has a little bit of the variations of colors, and I don't want it to be just like a dark brown.
Absolutely. And you know what's great to do actually in that situation is take the hair on the top and leave that, right? So put the roots on and just leave that out at the top, so you've got those lightened ends, which are actually really pretty. And then through the underneath, you can take the colour through to the ends after about, and just leave it for the last 10 minutes. And that way you get some dimension, which is what everyone wants.
Okay, thank you.
That was a great question. I feel like that's a good one. Lots of people have a question about. So I don't know if you saw, if you were able to see what I was doing. I'm trying to really stay in the camera even with my back turned. I did one half of the back. If it looks a little unscientific, that's because it is. Essentially, you're doing this by feeling. So I'm gonna tell you what I just did, and then I'm gonna do it on this side too. So essentially what I'm doing from the back is I'm using my nozzle to take horizontal sections. I'm going this way. I know you can't see it right now, but I'll turn around so you can. I'm going this way. I'm lifting the hair up, out of the way. Again, it's all about protecting those highlights. You're gonna do this by feel. You're gonna just put the nozzle to the exposed part of the section and just put the color right on there. And what's helpful for me is you can kind of feel the coldness of the color, and that's how you know, okay, it's there. And then you sort of just rub it into the roots. And when you're done with this, we're gonna do a little, it's helpful to go in and just do a little bit of a massage toward the back just to make sure you haven't missed anything. You'll feel dry spots with your gloves. So I'm gonna turn around, do this section, and let the ladies take more questions here.
Thank you, Siobhan. While Siobhan's finishing up the back, I'll take a question from Laura Bingle. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very good. I'm in upstate New York.
Welcome.
And I actually did color my hair earlier this week, and it did an excellent job. I think covering what I had was real obvious roots here, because I'm probably about 80% gray. I'm salt and pepper. And I used Granera Blonde 8AV on it. And I was pretty happy with the results and the way it feels, but here it was pretty resistant. And going forward, that's the next thing I was wondering about in my question, was I was thinking I might want to go a little lighter the next time, but I'm not sure if I should go a lighter shade or if I should do highlights instead.
We recommend when you're going lighter, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. I think highlights might be your best bet to create that soft dimension. That way you can have some lighter pieces without creating the hot root effect that we talked about earlier, because going lighter is a little bit tricky. And for your sideburns, did you leave that on for the 35 minutes or 45 minutes?
40.
Okay.
Didn't leave it on for the whole time. The first time doing it, I was a little nervous.
Well, yeah, we recommend 45 minutes for resistant gray. It might just be a little bit resistant there. So you can try next time, maybe going, leave it on the extra 5, see if that helps.
Yeah, I had it done professionally before, and what I'd done was I'd done the roots first and left it. And I think maybe if I do the roots and the sideburns for the first stage and then do the rest.
That's a great idea to start where you're most resistant. Absolutely.
Okay.
And sorry to interrupt. I did hear something that made my ears perk up just a tiny bit. And that is, I think that you said you used the shade 8AV. And we can probably send you a recommendation for another dark blonde shade that has a little bit better coverage than that one, because that blonde shade actually doesn't have much gray coverage pigment in it, that particular one. But let's make sure that we email her the link for something with a little bit more N. My colorist on the line will be able to decode what I'm saying. But long story short, we've got dark blondes that do a little bit better gray coverage. So maybe we'll send you one of those to see if that works better next time.
Perfect. Can I just jump in here? Thank you so much. Great questions, everyone. Can I just jump in here and ask Arlen, because I know you've been waiting for a little while. You have a question, I think, don't you?
Use the color for the first time. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I used it for the first time last week. I never colored my own hair before, or not for many, many years anyway.
Congratulations.
And I found I left it on, I'm more or less, I would say 85% silvery gray in the front and a little darker in the back. I left it on for 45 minutes and I found that I didn't get great coverage on the gray. And then I made the crucial mistake of washing through my hair on top of my blonde highlights.
Right.
So it darkened my whole head.
Okay.
Now, it's a two-part question. Can you leave it on longer with the gray? Because the 45 minutes really wasn't enough. Is it dangerous to leave it on longer, or does it just stop working after a while?
Right, great question.
Okay. And the other part is, how do I get back my blonde highlights?
Oh my gosh, you are a gift, because I'm sure that we've, those of us who've colored our hair have done exactly this thing. So first the question, if you've chosen the color and you've put it on and you've left it for 45 minutes, at 45 minutes, you're pretty much done. Because what happens with permanent color is that it deposits, it goes into the hair, it covers the gray, and then after that, it sort of cuts off, okay? So if you're finding that you haven't got the gray coverage that you would like, what you may have to do is look at looking at that shade. So there might be something, because at Madison Reed, we have so many choices, and obviously if you're doing it for the first time, you may not have made the perfect choice for that gray. So that's the first thing, you might look at that. Second thing is, okay, so what's happened with your highlights is that those highlights, remember we talked about porous and the ends are very receptive to the hair. So that's what will happen if we put the color on the ends. It's going to accept that super well. So we want to avoid that if we can in the future. So now you know what not to do, Arlen.
Exactly. I won't do it again.
Yes, and you can put some conditioner on if you think you might overlap, you know, that kind of thing, because that will help to protect it. Fortunately, we're in a good spot because your hair is porous, and as you wash it, it will lighten. So if you shampoo your hair a bit more than you would normally do, what you'll find is that that hair underneath that's been lightened will pretty quickly let the color go. And you'll be back to having lighter ends.
Is there anything I could put on it? Like I saw on your website, you have a clarifying shampoo. Would that help take out the color that I put on, or is that going to take out my highlight with it?
So that's a very good, we do in fact have a product which is called Prime for Perfection. And that's an excellent product to use in this type of situation, because what it will do is it will remove the permanent color and it will leave your hair the way it was before. So it won't take your highlights, it'll expose them. And that's a wonderful thing.
Okay.
So it's called
What is the name of that product again?
Prime for Perfection. Prime for Perfection. For Perfection. And it's a little bit like, it's like an exfoliant on your face for your hair. So it helps to clean or clarify any old permanent color. And that in your case is going to be fabulous.
So we are
Thank you.
done with our root application. Essentially, there's a couple kind of wrap up things I want you to put on your visual checklist when you're doing your roots. So it's applied everywhere my roots are on. As you can see, I'm just leaving my ends out today. I'm happy with my ends and I don't want to affect them too much. Now, we do this in salons. This is a little pro tip for you. It's called cross-checking. You do it however makes you comfortable, but essentially this is what we do. I've gone in and I've applied my hair using these kind of horizontal sections.
What's helpful is I'll take a bit larger sections, split them kind of vertically so that I'm exposing anything I may have missed. And I'm just doing a visual check to make sure that everything is indeed covered and saturating that in with my fingers. Okay, it doesn't, again, don't worry about this being super scientific and perfect sections. We just want to get a sense of, did I grab everything? Especially the awkward places you can't see, like the back and side, and feel for those with your fingertips in the back where, in these roots, go in from back here and just, you know, don't be too vigorous, like it's not a scrub, it's just more of distributing it with your fingertips. Make sure everything feels like it's got color on it. That's great. And while Susan was answering that really great question about the highlights, I don't know if you caught, that's when I went back through, I hit that whole hairline again where my grays are. This is how much product is left in my bottle. I've got, you know, medium density hair. It's a lot of product. So I can go back through and really resaturate those parts, right? So that's what I've done with my color. Also, grab your stain remover wipe and check everywhere that I moved my hair. I had a little color here. I had some here, had a little here in the ear. Just go through and clean it up so there's no proof that you just colored your hair. And then I'm gonna put my cap on and we'll show you how to do that. And let's hear another question. These questions are so good.
Oh, that's great. Can I jump in then and take Pamela's question? Pamela, I can't pronounce your second name.
Hi, it's Sig Dennis. I was a Mahoney. Just wanted to ask a very question. Very nervous calling in from Northern Nevada, coloring for the first time at home. I was so diligent about sectioning. I have very thick hair that I missed how you actually mixed your two colors together, the activator and the color. Can you just show me, you just put the tube right inside?
Yes, 100%. So I just screwed, this was, you know, just the white activator on its own in here. Puncture the tube, the cap comes with a little pointy thing, puncture that. Squeeze that entire tube. These are pre-measured for you guys. So it's the right amount of color to the right amount of developer, so you don't have to do any work. Just put that tube in there and put this back on and shake, shake, shake. You're good to go. That's it.
And last question, on the barrier cream, I also was being very aggressive to try to not get any on my face. And it says specifically, don't get it in your hair. Along the edge of the hairline, what happens if I have barrier cream in my
I would just wipe it off really quickly before you put the color on. You know, having a little that got on there and was wiped away isn't going to be a big deal. What we want is to avoid it getting really pushed into the hair and then applying the color directly over it. But don't worry, just give it a quick wipe and you'll be good to go. And then put your color on real thick right there.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, Pamela. Thank you so much. So Christine, can we have your question? I know that you've been here for a little while. Would you like to ask?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I think we can hear you. Can we hear you?
I hope so.
Yes.
So I've actually colored my hair I ordered Madison Reed right away when my salon shut down. And I got the Novara light brown, and I did it 4 weeks ago. And I have a lot of white hair, I would say. I look at my roots, it's almost 100% white. And I decided, and the color Novara really matched what my stylist was doing, but I've been wanting to go redder for a long time. So I ordered the Sardina red, and I have that here, and I want to do it. But I'm a little nervous about, because last time I just put it on my roots, and I used a gloss on the ends, the Mila. So I got the Sardina red, and my question is, do I just put it on the roots, or do I put it on the whole head because it's red? It's a different color, or should I use the gloss? They sent me a gloss. For some reason, I bought a bundle. I got another one, Barlello and Canela gloss. Should I use which gloss would you recommend using?
Okay, can we see you? Where are you?
I can try and start my video.
Useful.
This is my hair colors I'm a natural redhead, and it is kind of red. This even though it's called light brown, it looks reddish.
Okay.
And then I got this, and I have the Sardina red that that's what I have to use today.
Okay, perfect. So you've got your grey down there as well, have you?
You have tons of gray. If you can see, let me try and show you.
Oh, yes. Oh, lovely. Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's practically like white, almost 100%.
Okay. So
I have the 3 different colors of gloss that I could use on the ends, but just wondering, my main question is how to handle the ends.
Right, and that's a great question, because what you're actually going to be doing is changing your color today, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, what we would recommend for that would be to use, and we talked about this product just now, Prime for Perfection first, because what that will do is it'll lighten what you've got, and it'll give the color that you're about to use a much better chance of being vibrant. Because you're going quite bright. I mean, you're kind of going bold there, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I am. I am naturally red and redder than this and lighter than this, but this is how I ended up through the years. Ended up with this color, and I just want to try something different. So
what I totally get it. I think it's a great idea. You know what the best thing for you to do is? Mix up a teeny tiny bit of your permanent color. So the gardenia, just try a little tiny bit and put it somewhere where you can see it, but nobody else can. So
like on the back here?
Exactly, yeah. So usually through here. And that's actually a great tip for anyone who's thinking about changing their color. Because if you from the root and then put it all the way through to the ends, you'll see exactly what will happen, and you'll have a brilliant preview of what you think. I'm thinking, looking at your hair right now, that you probably will need to use something to get your hair a little bit lighter on those ends from the Navarro. Just so that you get that kind of brightness and lightness that you're looking for. It looks like it may be a little bit deep. So I would recommend that you try that little experiment first. What do you, Siobhan and Dana?
This is going to look beautiful on your skin tone. I'm looking off to the side. I'm seeing you on my computer. I think that dialing in with the directions that Susan gave you, really great. But I think overall it's going to be a beautiful color for you. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be good.
More closer to my natural color, and not just brown naturally. So get the Prime for Perfection, and then try a swatch on the back of my head.
Do a strand test today and see what that looks like. If you love it, you can go right ahead. You don't need but I think for what you need, I think that might be the best way to go. So
and if I do love it, do I do the color the whole head, the roots and the ends, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. And use that color reviving gloss, because that's amazing for shine. You might not need it straight away, but it'll be really great for you to help to maintain that color.
Yeah, red it fades so fast. That's why I got it.
Red's where it's at.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Christine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So I'm gonna insert just kind of our last little bit of anything you have to do for your roots. And I know we've got questions waiting, so I do want to see if we can get a couple more in. Here's what I want to advise about putting the cap on and why we use it. We use the plastic cap for a couple of reasons, not only so that you can go sit on your couch and watch TV and not drip. That's reason number one. Reason number two is the cap actually traps in the heat from your scalp and helps those grays get covered. So we don't use heat. We don't sit under a heat lamp or anything. We don't really have to. This cap is, and as you can see, it's kind of like stuck right down to my head. That's gonna just let those little grays cook with the heat of my scalp. Now, when you put this cap on, I don't know how annoying the plastic sound is through the phone, so forgive me, but don't just sort of slap it on here. What can happen is your forehead can get hot and cause the color to start dripping or getting any kind of weird little stains. Right up at the hairline, and I actually turn it kind of inside out. That's my little comfort pro tip there.
and just at the hairline, not super far down here. And that's going to keep your forehead nice and clear from any colorization on your skin. Now, I sort of took a quick peek at the clock when I finished. I'm going for 45. I like 45 because my grays are a little resistant. Not many, but they have an attitude, so they are resistant. If you don't have grays or that's not why you're coloring and you're not worried about it, 35 is standard. So it's 35 to 45, 45 for lots of gray or resistant gray. Okay? How you guys doing out there?
I can see everybody's doing brilliantly. We do have a ton of questions. I know that you guys all definitely want to get in there. So where's Jan? Where's Jan? Where's Jan Tuhoff? Where are you, my dear? Oh, there you are. Okay. I know you've been waiting for ages, haven't you? So sorry.
Yeah, well, that's fine. It's been very revealing. Thank you very much. And I did try to color my hair myself about a month ago. Sort of okay. I did an okay job. I have a lot of gray. I have short curly hair, you can see. And the one of your technicians helped me pick out a Tuscany brown, which I will use this week. So, and I have a lot of gray. My hair is old. I'm not, but my roots are old. I'm fine. With that is it. So it's a two-part question, and forgive me if it's redundant, but I need to hear it again. When I have my hair colored, they do. You know, in curly hair, it's a little bit difficult. I can't separate it as much because things come back, and that's okay. I can figure it out. So when you put the cap on, and I would leave it on like about, as you said, 35 to 45 minutes. I might need the 45 because in the shop they leave it on 30. But then I take the color through my hair. After I leave it on the roots, what they would do is they would then put a little water on it, or would they mist it and then they mush it through my head or use the rest of the color. How would I apply your color? Once I did the roots and took the cap off, would I then apply the color, the rest of it on my hair, or how would I do it all at once? I'm confused here.
So great question, and you're not alone. So it is a bit confusing because obviously you have color and the ends are colored, and then your roots are not colored. So whenever your hair is already colored, it's going to be much more receptive to any type of color that you put on it. So in order to make sure that you get a nice even result, what we always do is leave it on the roots first. So on your hair, I would pop it on the roots. If you say it's resistant, maybe leave it for 45 minutes. That's the maximum that we recommend.
I'm sorry, for how long?
45 minutes.
Right.
Because that kind of makes sure that you get all the resistant grays.
Right.
And then when you take the cap off, you can use the color that's already on your hair. So just pop your head whoop under the shower and then massage everything. We give you 2 pairs of gloves, so that's easy to do. And leave it on the ends for maybe 5 minutes. Your hair's quite short, so when you'll be applying the color, it will probably go through the ends a bit anyway. So you want to make sure that you don't leave it on the ends for too long. And that's a great way to refresh any type of permanent color if you don't want to do anything else.
Right, that's fine. You answered the question. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I'm sorry you had to wait, Jan.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a question from Tammy. Tammy, are you still there? Tammy Weber?
Yes. So
hi, Tammy.
My hairstylist has done my eyebrows because they're disappearing. Is it safe to use on your eyebrows, and how would I do that?
We do not recommend putting any permanent color on the eyebrows, just as a safety measure. So yeah, we would advise against putting any permanent color on your eyebrows. It's just difficult to rinse.
And then I'm doing the gloss as well.
Yes.
If I have highlights that have been growing out and I like the way they look, kind of like balayage-ish, do I put the gloss all the way through, or do I just do part of it?
You could comb the gloss all the way through. You'll still have those differentiating shades from your highlights. And the gloss lasts about 6 to 8 washes. So the highlights will, you know, every time you wash your hair, they will return a little bit lighter. So the gloss is very forgiving in that way, where it's great to use if you do have highlights, just to give them that refreshing look.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So have we got time for one more? Oh, Tammy, I know that you've been waiting for a little while. So do you have your question? Where are you? Let's see if I can find you.
You just answered my question.
Oh, okay, perfect. So then Jennifer, where are you? Jennifer.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Hi. Okay, so
Love your background.
Hi. That's where I wish I was, right?
We all do.
That's amazing. I saw some other people have the same one. It's great. I'm similar to Siobhan, where I have, these are my roots, obviously. They're about 4 inches now. It's, you know, your stylist always says, oh, you're a dark blonde, but to me it's brown. And you can see how it's grown out. These are my highlights. So I'm afraid I was just about to do the whole hot root thing. So when I spoke to a stylist on the phone, I ordered the 8AV, the Grenauer Blonde. So should I take a step backwards, return this and get a different color? And then balayage later? Like, what do you?
I do think we should reconsult with you a little bit. My concern is this is so blonde.
Yeah.
And so light that the 8AV will get you lighter, but not as light as that. So you'll sort of have a stepped, sort of not quite right here, you're at your gold blonde here. So I would love us to contact you after the call just to make sure that you're set up with what you need.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm glad you were on the call and asked.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I would be interested in the balayage live tutorial if you end up doing it. So I think that's
okay, perfect. I love doing those. So
thank you.
Thanks.
Fabulous. So Jennifer Wright, was that you? Was that Jennifer Wright? And have we got time for one more? One more? Sandra?
Hi.
Where are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. There we go.
Hi. So I dyed my hair maybe about 2 weeks ago with the Veneto light brown, the 7 NVA. And before I had my hair colored at the stylist maybe a few months ago, and it was colored with a darker brown, and I actually don't like it so dark. Okay. And I think this Veneto is closer to my actual natural color.
Right.
But now, actually, my roots came out a little bit too light, and I'm probably at least 60% gray. So I'm not sure where I should go now, if I should try the Prime for Perfection first and then again try the Veneto, or if I should go up one shade darker. I'm a little bit in a pickle.
And so the ends of your hair are a little bit darker than you'd like them to be?
Yes.
Okay, then perfect. This is where Prime for Perfection will really help you.
Okay.
It's super gentle, it's not a bleach. So what it's going to do is it'll help to make your permanent color on the ends a little bit lighter. And then you can go in and use what you used the last time. So stay with the Veneto on the end.
I think I would like that. And I had one other question. Well, actually 2 other questions. One is the timing. When do you start your clock? When you start putting the color on, or when you've finished putting everything on?
So you always start the clock when you finish the application.
Ah, okay. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because my grays didn't get covered as well.
So that will probably help you. As soon as you finish your application, start your clock, set it for 45 minutes, and you should be good to go.
Okay. And the last question is, I have quite curly hair. Do you have any tips for curly hair?
Oh, tons of tips. But that might be beyond the scope of this call. As colorists, you know, the most important thing for curly hair is to get lots of shine. So what you might want to think about is doing some of the color reviving gloss treatment. Even if you're just using a clear or something that's light, like crema, that will be fabulous on your hair.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you, ladies.
Wow, Siobhan.
Okay, I'm here. Hi.
Oh, you're still there.
I'm still here. Those were such good questions. Those were amazing. So it's been about an hour. I think we're actually running a little over, and I think we could sit here and talk to you all day. So this has just been so wonderful. I think Heidi is going to sort of wrap up our call. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you love your color. It sounds like you're already loving Madison Reed. And we're so pleased that you guys have spent your Saturday with us, connecting with us. It brings us all a little bit closer in a time of distancing. So we appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And I'll turn it over to Heidi to take us home.
As Siobhan said, thank you very much for being the first participants in our first ever hair color house party. Just a reminder to please send us your beautiful pictures of your beautiful after hair color and tag us, Madison Reed, and also hashtag hair color house party, and we will donate $1 to Direct Relief. Thank you so much. If you found this session helpful, please comment on Facebook or Instagram and let us know what you liked about it, and watch on our social channel for any future hair color house parties coming your way. My guess is we're gonna have more of these, so please join us or invite your friends. And take care, everyone. Happy coloring.